the forbidden blender.
"How much longer?" the small girl asked. The tall man sitting beside her, staring out the window of the train, replied, "Not sure. It doesn't always run on schedule." The girl swung her legs on the edge of the seat and twirled the blue ribbon in her hair. She'd been waiting for so long she lost track of time. "Can I have a snack?" she asked. The man continued to stare out the window, not turning his head as he replied, "Are you hungry or just bored?" The girl hesitated before she spoke. "That's what I thought." The girl glared at the man. Stewing in her anger, she began to scrutinize everything he was wearing, bit by bit. Stupid shiny shoes, stupid jeans, stupid flannel shirt, stupid pin on the stupid flannel shirt. Looking again, the pin caught her eye. As stupid as she thought it was at first glance, she stared more intently at the pin. It was small and dull, looked to be made out of tin or something similar. The design was what caught her attention. A dozen or so eyes, human, animal, some even looked insect, backing a large sword. "Where do you get the pin?" she asked. The man turned to face her. "My dad gave it to me." "Your dad's kinda weird." For the first time in their trip together, the man laughed. "Yeah, he gets that a lot." Sensing an opportunity in the sudden levity, the little girl asked, "Can I use the bathroom?" The man's eyes met hers. Those pale blue eyes bored into her with sudden intensity. For a moment, he simply stared. Then he broke the silence. "Sure. Just don't get lost. Train's bigger than you'd think." With his go-ahead, she leaped off the red cushion, flung open the sliding door, and bounded down the hallway of the train car, her blue ribbon flapping in the rush of air as she shot out the cabin door. Her pace slowed to a walk as she made her way down the hallway. She was flanked on either side by large windows. She glanced out of them. Gigantic mountains and falling snow dominated the view from beyond the glass. Fascinated, she pressed her hands and face up against the pane. It was cold. Almost as a test, she breathed on the glass. Right on cue, the small portion of the snowy landscape in front of her face fogged over. She drew 2 stick figures. One tiny figure, a small triangle marking her as a girl. One large figure, a square scrawled on its makeshift chest. The square held eyes and the best approximation of a sword. She felt the cold of the glass as she doodled, shivering as she felt it spread throughout her body. She took a few steps back from her masterpiece and hugged herself, vigorously rubbing the sides of her arms, trying to warm up. "You cold?" She heard an unfamiliar voice speak. She turned to the source of the sound and saw a tall woman in a long dress. A yellow so light it could almost pass for white, the dress twisted and flowed as the woman walked, her heels clicking on the metal and plastic of the train car floor underfoot. The girl looked up at the woman. She was very beautiful. Her pale face was unadorned except for bright red lipstick. She had joy rolling off her like water in a bucket filled too high. The girl looked into the woman's kind eyes and felt like following her. So she did. The woman shepherded the girl into a small train cabin, similar in size to the one the girl occupied with the tall man. It was warm and toasty inside as the woman shut the sliding door behind them, trapping the heat within. "Are you here alone?" the woman asked as she wrapped the girl in a woolen blanket. "No," the girl replied sadly. "I'm here with a man." The woman looked puzzled. "Is he your dad?" "No," the girl said. "Is he your uncle?" "No," the girl repeated, this time with some confusion. "Well, sweetheart, if he's not your dad, he's not your uncle, what are you doing with him?" "I'm taking her home," spoke a familiar voice. The tall man with the pin loomed over the both of them. Getting over the initial shock of his sudden appearance, the little girl wondered how he opened and closed the sliding door so silently. The man's eyes were hard, and his right hand was clenched into a tight fist. The woman, looking almost as surprised as the girl, spoke. "Hey, Mike." "Hey, Lucy," the man replied casually. The man looked down at the girl. "Making friends?" The little girl nodded. "We're just warming ourselves up. It's freezing out there." The woman placed an arm around the girl, encircling her. Mike looked down at the girl, staring at her with that same intensity as before. "Don't do anything stupid." He slid open the door of the cabin, looked back at the girl one last time, then closed the door behind him. Within seconds, the sound of his footsteps grew distant. Smoothing out the wrinkles in the blanket draped around the girl, the woman continued. "So, where are you going?" The girl opened her mouth to speak, but nothing came out. "Where are you going, sweetheart?" the woman repeated. The girl was frightened now. She suddenly realized she didn't know where she was or how she got on the train. Where were her parents? Where were her brothers and sisters? She started to cry. The woman drew her tighter as the girl sobbed. "Oh, no, sweetheart. It's all right. It's okay." The woman held the girl and stroked her hair. After a few minutes passed, the woman spoke. "You know what I like to do when I want to feel better?" The girl looked up through tear-stained eyes and shook her head. A wide smile broke across the woman's face. "I go and look at my trinkets. Some of them are brand new, some of them are so old. Would you like to take a look at them with me?" The girl nodded her head and took the woman's outstretched hand. They slid open the door and walked out into the hallway. It was dark now. Dim lights overhead and the white of the snow outside was the only illumination. As they walked, the blanket that was wrapped around the girl snagged on a raised nail in the floor and slid off. The girl reached back to grab it, but the woman assured her, "It's all right, it's just a blanket." The girl craned her neck to see the blanket they left behind, but they turned, went off into a sidecar, and disappeared from sight. The little girl wondered how big the train must be as the two of them descended the stairs of a narrow passage. She'd never heard of a train with a second level before. As the woman guided her, the little girl saw bright light at the bottom of the stairs. It grew brighter and brighter the closer they got. As her eyes struggled to adjust, the little girl partially shielded her face with her free hand. Once her vision adjusted, she saw them all. Arranged very neatly, very carefully on ancient countless wooden shelves, were snow globes. All the same shape, all the same size. The tiny snowflakes falling inside each of them masked the scene each one presented. Guided by the woman, the little girl moved closer. Soon her face was hovering over the lowest row of the orbs, her blue ribbon hanging from her hair, just barely touching the glass of the orb. The little girl stared at the globe directly in front of her. She saw figures skating on ice. They were all children. One of them was a very young girl. She had a blue ribbon in her hair,